Nuclear standoff. The war between Russia and NATO. WHO will be the winner? France has launched its first test with the upgraded ASMPA missile, capable of carrying nuclear warheads, marking a significant advancement in the country's nuclear deterrence capabilities. The Russian Ministry of Defense has announced the deployment of a large-scale military exercise involving tactical nuclear forces. These escalating actions have not only raised serious concerns about global stability but also posed a significant challenge to the fragile non-proliferation regime, which has become increasingly vulnerable in the current volatile geopolitical context. First, when we talk about nuclear weapons, we are referring to a type of weapon with a destructive power that is fundamentally different from conventional bombs or explosives. Currently, 9 countries around the world claim to possess nuclear weapons, with an estimated 15,000 nuclear warheads, and this number continues to grow. In addition to atomic or thermonuclear bombs, the world has seen many types of nuclear weapons, including warheads mounted on intercontinental ballistic missiles, cruise missiles, or smaller-scale nuclear artillery shells. Many nations have signed treaties to limit nuclear arsenals and refrain from using nuclear weapons against other countries. Among the 9 nuclear-armed states, 3, the United States, Russia, and China, possess weapons powerful enough to obliterate any target on Earth. In recent years, as the conflict in Ukraine erupted, there were several instances where Western officials questioned whether Russia might use nuclear weapons, especially as the war seemed to drag on. So, the question arises, under what conditions might Russia use nuclear weapons? According to Russia's nuclear doctrine, the use of nuclear weapons could be a response to the use of similar weapons or other weapons of mass destruction against the country. The use of nuclear weapons is also allowed when the adversary employs conventional weapons that threaten the existence of the Russian state or its critical military and industrial infrastructure. The Russian president could notify other countries and international organizations about the use of nuclear weapons. But this is not obligatory. Therefore, the use of nuclear weapons could, in essence, be preemptive. At the same time, in situations where Russia faces threats, senior researchers at the United Nations Institute for Disarmament Research assess that Russia's nuclear doctrine and its vast nuclear arsenal pose a red flag to any opponent. So, how large is Russia's strategic nuclear weapons arsenal? Russia's strategic nuclear forces consist of 3 branches of the military armed with nuclear weapons: land-based, sea-based, and air-based forces, commonly referred to as the nuclear triad. In total, Russia's nuclear arsenal holds nearly 4.500 warheads, including deployed and stockpiled warheads. The land component includes 198 mobile launchers and 144 fixed launchers for intercontinental ballistic missiles, ICBMs. Russia possesses 1.356 warheads with a range of up to 11.500 kilometers. The missiles in Russia's military inventory can carry multiple nuclear warheads, such as the RS-24 Yars or the R-36M2 Voyvoda. Systems developed by LISO. Essentially, the R-36M2 and ICBMs are liquid-fueled, combining N-24 and UDMH. This design allows the R-36M2 missiles to store fuel longer, maintaining combat readiness for 10 to 15 years before needing inspection, with a lifespan potentially extending to 25 years. The naval component includes nuclear-powered ballistic missile submarines. Currently, this force consists of 11 operational nuclear submarines under the D-Boat and Bore projects, capable of carrying missiles with warheads having an explosive yield of 100 kT in a range of 9.000 to 11.000 kilometers. Integrated with modern technologies, the most advanced weapons, the killers of the nuclear strategic submarine fleet of the Bore class, are expected to play a central role in Russia's sea-based nuclear forces. With a length of up to 170 meters, a width of 13.5 meters, and a displacement of 24.000 tons, the Bore submarines can dive up to 450 meters beneath the sea and operate continuously for 90 days with a crew of up to 130 men without needing resupply. Despite having half the displacement of the older Typhoon-class submarines, Russia's Bore-class submarines can carry a specific number of ballistic missiles. The main weapon of these submarines is the 16 Bulava ballistic missiles, a sea-launched version of the Topol-M intercontinental ballistic missile. using a 3-stage solid fuel system with a target deviation of only about 300 meters. The airborne component includes the Tu-95MS and Tu-160 bombers, the most powerful bombers in the world. Russia's Air Force operates 63 Tu-95MS bombers, an upgraded variant, on combat readiness. Furthermore, the Tu-95 is expected to remain in service with the Russian Air Force at least until 2040, which would set another record for operational longevity. Nearing a century, these bombers can carry nuclear bombs or cruise missiles with nuclear warheads, such as the K-55. The total number of missile-carrying vehicles is 68, with up to 580 warheads. However, it is important to note the distinction between Russia's strategic and tactical nuclear forces. While there is no clear definition for tactical nuclear weapons, they are considered weapons needed to achieve specific tactical objectives on the battlefield, while strategic forces are designed for large-scale attacks intended to completely destroy the opponent. Non-strategic or tactical nuclear weapons typically have a range of no more than 5.500 kilometers. However, this range is sufficient to cover all of Europe. Therefore, in many situations, tactical nuclear weapons serve as a strategic deterrent. According to official statistics, Russia currently possesses no more than 1.816 tactical nuclear warheads. And as these are not bound by international agreements, Russia's tactical nuclear weapons can be used for both conventional attack missions and strategic deterrence. Russia's tactical nuclear forces are primarily equipped on multi-role nuclear submarines, such as the Project 885 Yasen, as well as on supersonic bombers like the Tu-22M3, fighter bombers such as the Su-24M and Su-34, and various other types of fighter aircraft. The tactical nuclear arsenal is also equipped on short-range ballistic missile systems like the Iskander-M and the A-135 missile defense system protecting Moscow. Russia frequently conducts exercises involving tactical nuclear weapons. According to military expert Dmitry Stepanovich, such exercises aim to test combat readiness, refine the procedures for transitioning to the use of tactical nuclear weapons, and are not aimed at any specific targets. Additionally, Russia has very clear guidelines and policies for nuclear deterrence. Russia's nuclear deterrence policy is defensive in nature, ensuring that the country's nuclear force remains sufficient to deter aggression, protect its sovereignty and territorial integrity, and curb the enemy from attacking Russia and its allies, thereby preventing and halting military escalations based on conditions accepted by Russia and its allies. Geopolitical nuclear weapons are purely a deterrence measure, the ultimate and obligatory option. The nuclear deterrence policy aims to make opponents understand the inevitable retaliation in case of aggression against Russia or its allies. In this policy, Moscow also lists military threats such as the presence of nuclear weapons and other weapons of mass destruction, the deployment of nuclear weapons on the territories of non-nuclear nations, the positioning of forces near Russia's borders, and Moscow considers the deployment of attack systems in space as the next threat. Let's now examine Russia and NATO's views on nuclear weapons use in the Ukraine conflict. In a speech, Russian President Putin warned of a tough response to any actions that threaten the Russian population. Russia's strategic nuclear forces were placed on special alert following a partial mobilization order. President Putin accused Western nations of discussing the possibility of using nuclear weapons against Russia. He emphasized that if Russia's territorial integrity is threatened, Moscow would certainly use all available means to protect the country and its people. Russia's tactical nuclear weapons are deployed on Belarusian territory. According to President Lukashenko, these weapons are much more powerful than those dropped on the cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki in Japan at the end of World War II. After Poland declared its readiness to host nuclear weapons, NATO emphasized that the alliance had no such plans. NATO Secretary-General Jens Stoltenberg reaffirmed in a press conference in Poland that NATO has no plans to expand its nuclear sharing program or deploy more nuclear weapons to other NATO member states. It should be noted that nuclear sharing is part of NATO's deterrence policy, allowing nuclear weapons to be stationed in non-nuclear member states. The program may also include activities such as providing escort aircraft or reconnaissance planes to carry out nuclear missions. Non-strategic nuclear weapons include approximately 200 B-61 nuclear bombs, half of which are located on NATO's European allies' territories, such as Italy, Germany, Belgium, the Netherlands, and Turkey. Variants of the B-61 nuclear bomb include B-61-3, B-61-4, B-61-7, B-61-11, and B-61-12. With the introduction of the B-61-13, it is expected to replace the current stock of B-61-7 bombs. In addition to America's own nuclear doctrine, the nuclear component is also present in NATO cooperation agreements with allies. The United States has enacted a nuclear sharing program, ensuring that both the benefits and risks of nuclear deterrence are shared among all allies. At the same time, the tactical nuclear weapons stationed in Europe are under full control by Washington. NATO's primary nuclear deterrence policy, defined in the 2022 strategic concept, is to protect peace, prevent coercion, and deter aggression. The use of nuclear weapons is described as an extremely rare event. Moreover, nuclear bombers can be used within the air forces of non-nuclear member states. But their use only occurs with the approval of NATO's Nuclear Planning Group, with all alliance members involved and special permission granted by the President of the United States and the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom.